Hello and welcome to episode number 52 of Just Chillin'. Most people most people wouldn't think this is like a special episode. When Andy and I got going on this, we didn't make it a mandate, but we were like, let's try to do this every week. And so this is a special episode. This is our 52nd episode. So we've been doing this every week for a year. I'm one of your hosts, Sean Hoffman.
And I'm your other host, Andy Bell. And today, folks, you can't celebrate an anniversary or a special occasion like this without having an absolute legend of a guest. As we promised last week, we do have that legend of a guest. And I'm very, very pleased to introduce you to the king of all Toms, Mr. Tom Jansky. Hey, Tom.
Thank you so much, Andy and Sean, and happy anniversary, and thank you for having me. And when you kind of previewed it last week, I was like, who are they setting up to have next week? and then here I am. So I've been listening since you guys launched and have loved the conversations you've had together, you've had with our friends. And yes, I've wanted to be on the show for a while. I'm thrilled to be here and honored and excited that it's this week of all weeks. So thank you so much for having me.
Well, it makes so much sense. It just makes so much sense, right, Sean?
Yeah, like it's like we've been talking about it for a while. And we're like, but we wanna have him on where we can really let him like elevate the conversation to a different level. Like I don't want to bring him on like during one of the dead weeks of like what. So what do you have to say, King Tom? Like no, we have one episode of Skeleton Crew left. We've got an exciting it's the beginning of a new year. Like this is perfect. This is perfect timing.
Yeah.
That's man. It's as simple as that. So thank you for coming on. I'm excited to see what we come up with here.
So what we are going to do, guys, is, as usual, in typical Just Chilling fashion, we try and change up the content a little bit, or the discussion points a little bit, in acknowledgement of having an esteemed guest like Tom. So what we're going to do is we'll talk through our week, what we've been up to, and anything that's tickled our fancy in terms of what we've been watching, consuming, reading, playing. We won't draw it out as we normally do in our normal weeks, but what we'll do is we'll keep that to a minimum so that we can then go into a review of this week's Skeleton Crew, which for me blew my socks off. And then, of course, we'll have a specialist guest topic subject to round out the evening's entertainment. So, guest first. Tom, how's your week been? What have you been up to? Anything that's tickled your fancy?
My week's been pretty all right. This is my first full week back at work.
Oh, wow.
And my department does work for other departments at work, and sometimes we rely on them. And a lot of them are like, well, we're still working on planning for 2025. So,
Are you guys hiring? This is awesome.
that's the thing. I don't think so. I wish. But yeah, so work has been easy. We've had a lot of snow here. The kids were supposed to be back this week. They had Monday, Tuesday, and Friday off. We've got more than a foot of snow, and I've kind of, I call this the communication center. It's actually the laundry room. And I got a mini fridge for down here for Christmas. I, redid the lighting. We got a little carpet. So I've been slowly redoing this room to make it
The
more
lighting
common.
looks good, by the way. I have to say,
thank you.
Your lighting is spot on.
Yeah. I wanted to do something about that door, and I wanted to get something for here. I had a picture that it fell, frame broke, but it was a piece I got. Actually, Dallas Wood, shout out to Dallas, wherever you are. He found this artist at a local con years ago who was doing like historical paintings, but with Star Wars figures.
Nice.
But they were like people in the military. So there was this one picture of Lando Calrissian, like a old-timey admiral with that, the big sailor's hat. And I had it here for years, but the frame broke, and I got a few other things from that artist. So I want to get that. So I have a few other things I like to do here. And then my wife and I this week, there's a show on Peacock called The Day of the Condor with Lashana Lynch and Eddie Redmayne. It was 10 episodes, and we just finished it today. It's about an assassin played by Eddie Redmayne and the MI6 agent who's tracking him down.
Nice.
And it mostly took place in Europe, so great locations. There were a few things I didn't like in the end, but I thought it was very well done. And it's the type of thing where she's the good guy, he's the bad guy, but I want them both to succeed.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah.
I don't have Peacock or what.
I'd recommend it. There was a disappointment or two, but I'd still recommend it.
Nice. Make note of that on my notepad. All right.
Did I say A Day of the Jackal? I think.
Oh, so it's a remake.
I was looking.
Is it a remake of the old Edward Foxville?
I don't know. So what happened was I thought it was Day of the Condor, but it's based on a book named Day of the Jackal. Day of the Condor was a Robert Redford movie from the 70s. And I was telling my wife this, and, she and I like espionage type things. So we got to watch that now sometime.
No.
So no, this is Day of the Jackal. I apologize.
Right, okay.
I would have watched 2/3 of that other movie and been like,
all right.
I don't think Eddie Redmayne's in this. I don't think he's the
Redmayne's
lead.
not showing up.
Yeah, that's an old film. Yeah, I'm sure. David Jackal. I am sure is an old film, but I also think it's I also thought it's a modern film with Bruce Willis.
Oh,
I could be wrong. I could be completely wrong. It's all happening in real time. Anything else? Sorry, while I look that up, anything else? Anything else you've been checking out this week, Tom?
Not really. Just doing my thing, listening to Weezer, reading comic books, hanging out with my kids. I've been playing a lot of Roblox with my daughter.
Nice.
Right.
It's been fun. It's been fun. I play, like Mario Party with my son, which is fun too.
With Roblox, are you more of a team that kind of goes in and builds something yourselves, or do you go and play other people? Because I know Roblox for people who've never heard of Roblox is like, it's just a game. It's like you have no idea what it is.
No.
It's everything. It can be anything and everything.
Yeah. She found this game, which, despite the current political climate, is pretty enjoyable to play. It's called Oath of Office, where you're a person in government and you can serve in one of the different branches of American government. And it automates elections and things like that. And she and I, it's kind of fun because you don't have the same avatar, same name every time you play. And so either, we were in Congress or we're attorneys or this and that. And sometimes you get people who are very serious about the game. Sometimes you get people who are very joking about the game. And then she and I will go to the presidential debates. And my daughter, they've done this on their own. My daughter is a Weezer fan. And
excellent.
I nudged, but I'm not pulling.
Good parenting.
Thank you. And so my daughter and I will be at the presidential debate and, start shouting when is Weezer showing up. Because you'll have people playing who don't know what they're supposed to do on stage and everything. You don't have a lot of time to play either. It's a very quick moving game.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Love Roblox.
Roblox
is fun.
Yeah.
Good old
We're
time.
not trolls. I promise you, we're not trolls. We go in, we try to we try to play a good game, but we also like to have fun.
Nothing wrong with making it a little lighthearted,
Right.
Nothing wrong with
That's
that.
how you do it with your kids.
Yeah.
So, Sean, how's your week been, and what have you been? Because we're combining, if you like, agenda item 1 and 2 at the same time, which is cool with me because we've got a lot to go through.
Yeah.
How's your week been, and what have you been consuming?
So to kind of start off with, I've had a lot of people reach out regarding the fires in California, So I am nowhere close to those fires this time. Like for the first time ever, I feel like they're a couple hours away from me, but I do appreciate everybody reaching out. The second part of that is, my heart goes out for all of our friends and family who are affected by that. Like that's pretty massive. I know what that's like, to be evacuated and stuff. Not to bring it down, but I just want to I feel bad not saying anything considering I'm constantly riddled with wildfires. It's a stress that just kind of sucks. So, my heart goes out to all those people with all that. I've kind of had my head in the sand about it. Like I didn't really know it until this week started hearing about it. Like I don't know where I've been. I've been in La La Land or something. So yeah, I know it's kind of late better than never. Outside of that, dude, it's been pretty low key this week. Just a lot of work. We don't really do spring cleaning. We do winter cleaning. So been doing a lot of that. Been it's I'm trapped inside. Let me reorganize a room. So that. The other thing we did is last night we went to this, they do this local charity film festival thing. It's not like long films. It's just short films. It's called the Tahoe Adventure Film Fest, where they play 5 to 15 minute long short films for like 6 or 7 of them. And it's all a big, all the seats go towards a local, charity that does avalanche stuff and local community things. But the only reason I'm talking about that is there's nothing groundbreaking. Well, one, I didn't win the raffle, which is shocking and upsetting. But that's not here nor there. But the other part of it is there was a film that I watched that was called 26,000 Days. It's on Vimeo. I'll post a link in the description and stuff. It's just, there was something about it. It's 10 minutes long. It's about a guy who flies. They're all adventure films, skiing, a guy who's got one leg who goes skiing. And this one was about an airshow pilot and just his philosophy towards life. And it's just the filming, the drone pilot and the pilot himself and the cinematography of it are just the craziest things I've ever seen in my life. Just to hook people. He's an airshow pilot, but he was raised to fly gliders. So he likes to take his, every day he'll take his airplane up and cut the engine and just glide down. But he's doing loops and barrel rolls and just all of this insane stuff and just opening the door, put his hand out the window, dragging the plane in the water. It's the craziest thing I've ever seen, but all backed by this philosophy towards life. Dude, it's crazy. It's awesome. But it's called 26,000 Days. Link will be in the description. So that was cool. I was just kind of shocked by it. In terms of consuming, the only thing I've been consuming is that Going Rogue podcast you talked about last week, Andy.
Oh, damn it. It's good, isn't it?
I'm stealing it. I'm stealing it from you. I blew through the Rogue One episodes. I think there's 5 or 6. It's really good. I highly recommend it to anybody who likes that kind of behind the scenes stuff that maybe you're more interested in. You're interested in kind of the behind the scenes stuff with how movies are made, what it means ADR, and the trials and tribulations of some of these movies. And I've moved on to the solo stuff now, and I don't.
Yeah,
I know Andy's.
Well, and I was going to say, against this bit for context for Tom, I'm a big follower of Adam Savage. I watch an awful lot of Adam Savage on YouTube, and he goes through every year. He goes through his top 5 things of the year, and one of them that he brought up recently was Going Rogue. It's basically a lady, Australian lady that started off by producing a limited 6-episode run of a behind the scenes insight. It's kind of collected all the media, behind the scenes media and insight and content of the making of Rogue One. There's not an awful lot of new information in there, but it's kind of contextualized into individual subjects, and it's really, really good. And then she got encouraged by this 6-part, what should have been a standalone 6-part series, and has continued with other media, including Solo as well, and going through the kind of trials and tribulations of getting that movie made. It's really good stuff. It really is good. I do recommend it.
Yeah, actually, Catherine Neen reached out to me because I think you guys were talking about it on the Star Wars Spelt Out recap, and she
Could be.
reached out to me. Yeah, and I don't mean to derail things, but this is something else I've kind of been into this past week, and I think this might have been why Catherine.
It's all come full circle.
Yes, and I'm
All
seeing
come-
it now.
My work is done.
Yes. There's a person named Andrew, LL Cole 3993 on Blue Sky, that had a pretty big post this past week. Or actually, I think it was 2 weeks ago, but a lot of people picked up and noticed it this week. I guess this person got a shooting schedule for The Rise of Skywalker.
Oh, wow.
Which had, because, the story was ever changing, and it had the original lineup for how things were supposed to be shot, and there are some pretty big differences because you're dealing with a lot of code names, and it doesn't say everything, all of the dialogue that happens, but you get an idea of who talks to whom about what. And it sounds like in the original version, for instance, Ben went back to the jungle planet with Finn and Poe. After Rey healed him, somehow Ben went back to the jungle planet with Finn and Poe and had a conversation with Han Solo on the Millennium Falcon. And he had some knowledge which allowed the ending was very different. He had knowledge which allowed the Resistance to take down the Star Destroyers with a code, and I think that Rey and Palpatine, or the new Palpatine, which might have been played by Matt Smith at this point, they fought on the roof of that building on Exegol. There are a whole number of different things, and this person also has a blog, which I need to they've mentioned the blog somewhere. I need to find it. I'm sharing a link to their Blue Sky, so you could keep it in the show notes if you want. But their blog has a number of very well-written articles on how The Rise of Skywalker evolved from the original. It's a very good summary of the original scripts from what's-his-name who got canned, and the guy who wrote the Harry Potter movie that I remember the summary was one of the worst Star Wars takes of all time. He had some Rogue... He also has Rogue One, how that story developed the Phantom Menace. So, yeah. So that's one other, and I don't mean to derail us or bring it back.
No.
Yeah,
it's that behind the scenes stuff that I think is really kind of scratching an itch for me right now, especially with kind of the ramping down of some content. I feel like we're far enough away. It's kind of all right, somebody's collating this stuff together, and yeah, I'm ready to consume it now.
I'm very glad we got what we got, even though I had some issues with Rise of Skywalker. I still really enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
But I do like knowing, A, what it could have been, but also there's still a chance that some deleted scenes exist or things like that. So,
wouldn't it be something to get an extended version? And I don't mean an extended version as an special edition, whereby it changes the context, because what we have is what we have, and it should always be that way. It should always be that way. But it would be great to get some of this stuff incorporated 10 years down the line, or even 5 years down the line, when people are a little bit less salty about the whole experience.
I think you're right.
Well, that's what I hold on to as well, because it's companies like this, especially anymore, they capture and keep everything. It's all archived. They're not, it's not like the storyboards and the drafts and stuff have all been just thrown in the trash and shredded. It's no, that stuff is all there. And I'm hoping they let some researchers or somebody in 10 years, and they can kind of dig around in it.
Yeah, and as long as it doesn't, as I said, as long as it doesn't change because whether you like it, whether you loathe it, whether you're indifferent about it, as long as it doesn't change the original vision of the director, then I'm all for it.
Right, and they'll reuse concepts, art, maybe even footage for things they weren't originally intended for.
Yeah.
Yeah. The name Kira got reused how many times?
Right.
Okay. Anything else, Tom?
The only other thing is kind of silly. The only content we've been consuming, Madison's never seen it, and I don't know how we've got sucked into this, but we've been watching King of the Hill, the old television show by Mike. Mainly because I call her Boomhauer sometimes because she's from the South, and I call her. So it's context, and it's actually like it doesn't age well, but at the same time, it kind of does. It's almost like it predicted the future with some of the stuff, the nonsense they say, but it's entertaining. That's all I got, man. That's it.
Are you still living together?
She finds it funny in like an endearing kind of way of like, oh, like I relate to this, but there's other times where it's like, oh gosh, but no,
yeah.
It's a good little romp.
Excellent. So I've had a busy week, guys, because I'm stuck at home with treatment at the moment. I'm not going into detail of that, but I'm still going through treatment. So I spent a lot of time at home. I had finished the Lego Home One mini set or MIDI set. Do recommend it. Came out. It's brand new. It came out this month in the new addition to that Lego line. But it looks nice on the shelf. I'm in the wrong room, so I can't show you. But I'll take some snips and fly them over and stick them on the site. I've also been spending more money, Sean.
Nice, my favorite.
I've been spending more money. No. Oh wow, no, I haven't. I have lots of hospital appointments now diarised for me. And so with that in mind, I've obviously got to wear the correct attire, and there's no way I'm wearing those ridiculous cans with that. Yeah, Jedi robes the wrong way around, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So I've bought a bunch of hoodies, a bunch of t-shirts, and again, I'll share with you. They are pretty much exclusively Star Wars, so I'll share some photographs obviously with them. But at the same time as well, I have said, because, well, there's one announcement, which is obviously now with me knowing what kind of treatment looks like ahead of me, I will not be going to Star Wars Tokyo anymore. So I won't. I've Sean already knows this. But for those of you guys that may not, that we were looking forward to meet at Celebration, I'll no longer be going. So need to work out what we're going to do about that spare ticket that we've got at the moment. But at the moment, I will not be. I'll probably be neck deep in treatment or at a moment in time. So as a result of that, I've been getting into the spirit of Japan, and all of the stuff that I bought for you for various birthdays and Christmases are on their way to you now. So I can't wait. They're on their way to you now, my friend. And there's a couple of other things in there as well that I bought this week, just to get you in the spirit of Star Wars Celebration, Tokyo or Japan. Sorry, Celebration.
That unboxing for you.
That's on the way. Yes, then we'll do the unboxing live. Only news I picked up this week, which got me a little bit excited, and it was exciting for you, really, Sean. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles' last Ronin movie coming out. I don't know if you've seen that, but that looks particularly exciting. I mean, I'm too old to have been involved to really have got into Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, but the original comics, the original black and white manga, really pushed some buttons for me. And my understanding is that this last Ronin series that has been out
so good.
is extremely good, and for them using that as a baseline for a movie sounds pretty good. What do you think, Tom? You follow Turtles, right?
Not really. I think by the time they were a cartoon, I just never hugely got into them. I would watch it. I had a younger brother. He was into them, and I remember playing the toys, and that was the most I got into them, just for some reason.
Right.
But I know a lot of people love it, and it seems good for what it is. I think I was also aggravated by the NES game as a child.
Oh, yes.
I guess I was thinking of it from a comic perspective because I know that you're a comic aficionado, and I know that certainly the original comics for me played a big part in starting my fascination with manga in particular.
Yeah.
Anyway,
and then I understand the comics were really, really well done too. I don't know. I just never. Yeah.
They have a complicated history for sure in terms of quality with the Turtles kind of franchises. Those original ones were like unique in their own way, but then once the cartoon came out, they've kind of had a very hit or miss, mostly miss kind of history and I do appreciate the toys where they overlap with other universes. I think that's always hilarious and fun. Like the current one is what is it? Turtles and Masters of the Universe, I think is what they're doing.
I think I've seen those in Target. Yeah.
Yeah, where they got like Rocksteady and Bebop like with two heads on the same toy. It's weird. But the last Ronin one I think was kind of in the same vein of like Batman Begins or any of these other ones where you take a franchise and he's like, hey, we're gonna make it like super gritty now. And the story's really good. I'm interested to see how they do it. So this is not a spoiler, but this is like you don't know who the last Ronin is. You don't know which one. And so I'm telling you that so you don't go, if you care to keep that a secret, kind of it keeps it a secret kind of throughout the franchise, and you kind of get flashbacks and stuff. So if you don't want to know who that is before watching this inevitable movie, then I would purposely avoid it, because I think that's one of the big key pieces as it was being released. It's like, who is it? You don't know. And kind of getting that. I hope they kind of capture that as well as they do this movie. I hope that's kind of the big piece of like, well, who is it? Who's left? What happened to the others?
Excellent.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Excellent. I'll be quick on what I've consumed. So, listening, going rogue all the way. I'm burning through them at the moment, and as a result of that, it drove me to watch. Rogue One. With having that context of how, because I've been told an awful lot of what's in those episodes is not new news. And it should be well known, but there's a lot there that I didn't know. And so rewatching Rogue One was quite the experience. Also carrying on, because the girls have been back again this week, carrying on the idea of watching a franchise, relatively quick franchise this was. We ended up burning through Avatars 1 and 2. And I had 3 hours to myself, and I was able to get through The Empire Strikes Back, being the best movie of all time ever. It was gonna happen. If I do have 3 hours spare on my own, that's what's gonna be on my TV. So I had that. And then lastly, believe it or not, from a movie side of things, we revisited The Golden Child with Eddie Murphy. And I don't know how you guys feel about that movie, but it hasn't aged as well as I thought it might. It wasn't as... It could be my current state of mind, I don't know. But it wasn't as funny or as... What am I trying to say? It wasn't as funny as I remember it being, which is a bit of a disappointment. But we went a bit retro and watched The Golden Child. In terms of TV, been still watching, obviously Skirts of Grey. Still burning through Shrinking, Silo, and Dune Prophecy, albeit painfully slowly. Sorry, Sean. I'll get to Prophecy really quick.
I'm still processing it, so you have plenty of time.
And then also going through, because Lucy and I in particular have got on this pirate gig at the moment. We're burning through Black Sails. As you know, we bought that on Blu-ray because we can't get it on network, or we can't get it on streaming in the UK. So we're burning through that on Blu-ray, and it's a bloody good romp. It really, really is. And lastly, there's a program in the UK called The Traitors, which is basically a game show whereby, I think you've got it in the States now, right?
Doesn't
There is
sound familiar.
No
the-
idea.
I think the BBC have sold the rights to the a game show called The Traitors to the US, because there is, I can see advertised, The Traitors US actually on
It's on
Yeah.
TikTok. That's why
Yeah.
I haven't heard of it.
Okay. Basically, long and the short of it, it's a game show whereby you have to. There are two traitors which have to kill, or they nominate people at night to kill, and it's the job of the faithful, who's everyone else, to guess who the traitors are, so they can eliminate them. And there's a prize cash reward involved, and it's all good fun. It brings up basically the working people, but it's good fun to watch. And that's it, mate. So that is kind of where we are in terms of our week, which leads us up to review, for me, the major pinnacle of the week being the latest Skeleton Crew, episode 7. Guess first, what did you think, Tom?
Loved it. Loved it. Thank you. Yeah, I hate that Jod is so irredeemably evil now at this point. It's hard to see us getting his redemption. But I think it's just been done so well, and I'm really looking forward to seeing where it's going. I think, the kids, just seeing how they've kind of come together, how they've grown as characters, the journey they've been on, the relief at coming home after all this, yet at the same time, the terror of having to be with Jod, the way it was done. I was on the edge of my seat, and then when it ended like that, I want it to be Tuesday already.
Tell me, have your own kids come together on this program? Is it something that's resonated with them?
I've not watched it with my daughter yet. She and I just have a list of things we have to watch together. My son really enjoys it, but now that he's back in school, for December, school was very light, so we let him stay up late to watch it. But now, he couldn't watch this past week just because it was on past his bedtime.
Right. I mean,
He's really enjoyed it too. He took to it much better than he did the Acolyte.
Right, and that's good to know, because the reason why I'm asking is that I'm loving it. I'm loving every minute of it. In fact, we Sean and I talk back lyrical about this program every single week, and about how it's just so refreshing. And it also, it's one of the only programs apart from Andor, it's the only Star Wars program that my family has wanted to watch with me. They're asking me they're asking me, when's it on? It's not a case of, I'm not watching that, I'm going in the other room. And it's the only one. But of course, I think to myself, we're not the target demographic.
No.
Which is the reason why I'm asking you with your kids at their age, whether it really is resonating with them.
Mm-hmm. It is, yes. I mean, at least with my son, it is, yeah.
Right. Oh, that's very cool.
I mean, I think with you buying Black Series, Andy, I think you might be the target demographic.
Honestly, man, I don't know what it's. I keep repeating myself. It came out at the right time. It came out at Christmas. For a start, the merch was ready. That helps an awful lot. I mean, at the end of the day, if I give it 5 months from now, 6 months from now, had I seen this guy in my local Walmart, or in my world, in my local Tesco's, I wouldn't have bought it. I wouldn't have bought him. But because he was there, the whole, if you like, Skeleton Crew extravaganza has been right up my alley. It really has. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I think it's great. I think it's great. Sure. What did you think? Top line. What did you think of the episode itself?
I loved it. I mean, I love every episode. It's not my favorite one.
Mhm.
I am allergic to cliffhanger endings. Like there's something about my spicy brain that's just like, as soon as it happens, I'm just like, no, don't want to wait. It's the millennial in me just being like, I need it now. I need the instant gratification. Please give me what happens next. But I loved it. I thought it was good. I like repeating kind of what Tom was saying. Like, I think Jod is doing. I go back and forth. Like, do I want him to be redeemed? Do I not want him to be redeemed? Like, I'm kind of sitting in camp. Like, I don't want him to be redeemed because he's such just a purely, like, I don't want to say evil. He's not evil. He's just greedy, and he's just an ass. Like, and that's perfect. And I love him for it. And I think it's just so, like, he doesn't need to. I mean, he probably will be redeemed, but I'm kind of like, he's just a jerk. Like, and that's okay. He doesn't need some, like, backstory. I still want to believe the supervisor's his dad. I'm not giving up on that. I'm going to ride that into the ground. But, yeah, dude, I loved it. That's my run on sentence line.
So you guys are in agreement that there's no way to be redeemed in any way whatsoever?
I have no clue.
I'd love for it to happen just because I think Jude Law is a great actor and he's having a great time in the Star Wars universe. And I really think that when he's good and charming, I think Jod is a great character. And it would take a brain more creative than mine to figure out how he has anything other to end this series with than getting crushed by a pile of data rees.
Yeah, that's the problem. If he doesn't get redeemed, how the hell do you sustain this in something?
Right.
You know, what do you do next? Unless that's already been planned for.
So I think I'm in the camp of, like, I don't think he could be redeemed. Like, he's like, oh, I'm a good guy now. But I think I'm more in the argument of, like, is he going to die or is he not going to die? I'm hoping he doesn't die. I hope he, like, gets arrested almost like Scooby-Doo villain style, where he's still bad, but he just gets caught. And he's being drug away by the New Republic or something. So it's like, we don't lose it.
And he would have got away with it if it hadn't been for those pesky kids.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm like, so he can just walk away just infuriated, like he was when he was yelling at him to shut up and to be quiet, and he's sick of him. But, like, they win and he's getting drug away by the New Republic. Like, that to me, in my current, it's only noon. Maybe it'll change later today, but I'm like, yeah, that's what I want. I want him to just see him be mad that he got foiled by kids. I think that's perfect for me.
So with that in mind, are we saying that then, Tom, let me ask you this question. Do you think this is the one and done? Do you think it's the one and done series? Or do you think this spins off to something else? Because everything we're talking about, the idea of Jude's character having some sort of continuation, I would love that.
I would, and I know, they've said that we'll see characters from Skeleton Crew in the whatever it is, whatever Filoni's cooking in his kitchen. But I don't know how you have a second season or a continuation of this story without having it too contrived. Just because, they did strike gold with Jude Law, with these 4 kids, with this planet. And how do you say what their next story is to get them in a similar situation? And this is not anything against Skeleton Crew because the story is so good. I think that this kind of figures into my wish list or what I would do if I was in charge. I think that we have to accept certain stories as being like one season or whatever.
Yeah.
I think there's. Oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, otherwise if the kids get themselves in the same predicament again, it's a little bit like Home Alone 2, right?
Right.
It's kind of
exactly. And I'm all for, if they can do it right, a second season of Obi-Wan. But I think we also have to be content with what we got because it was such a good story and wrapped up everything nicely maybe you could do something more flashback heavy, or as he communes with Qui-Gon. But I think that stories that are one season, mini-series, whatever, use those characters again in the future. Don't put them in the same situation. Don't call it the same thing, but season 2. I think we need to get used to focusing on stories.
Yeah. Seconding that, I think this will be the one and done for this group, the Skeleton Crew. I don't think we're done with the Skeleton Crew kind of mini-verse. I think we'll get stories off of this, but I don't think it's going to be with those kids, at least for a couple years, because kind of like what you're saying, it's like, well, we can't really see them get into the same predicament. Like at that point, it's just negligence. Like you kids, you got to finish your school and like live a normal life. We don't need more kids getting sucked into war. Like as fun as that is, like it's kind of the adventure. And I hate to say it this way, like, cause I don't want it to be misinterpreted. I kind of hope it's done with the kids, because I hope it buttons us up into a nice non-cliffhangery end of season 1. And just like button that up. But then in a couple years, if they can find a story when the kids are a bit older, like, because I don't think, well, shit, we got on another ship and we went out to space. It's like, well, what are we doing? Like, get it together. Yeah.
So I was going to move on to kind of speculate where you think the finale is going. I will do that. But one thing I will say is that I kind of agree. I do think this is going to be a one and done episode for the children, but they've left such huge pieces. I mean, there's something wrong with that planet, right? There is something wrong where, you know, the population is being controlled one way or another. Is going through some sort of control. It's a great experiment. There is something going on there. And I would find one episode that we have left very, very unlikely, or to be very unlikely to be able to kind of stow all of that kind of stuff up. What do you think, Sean? Sean, in terms of next week, and what do you expect? Well, first of all, what do you expect to see next week?
Well, I mean, I think it kind of so I'll talk about a piece of that. You know, I love to speculate. I don't think we're going to get all the answers, but this is I know this is like a weird timing thing, and I could be wrong. But I'm pretty sure the High Republic's coming to an end this year with books and stuff.
It is.
So my cockadoodle speculation outside of the final episode is, I think that there's going to be a lot of books coming out that fill in a lot of these gaps, like after the High Republic kind of shift into a skeleton. I'm just completely making this up, so it's based on literally nothing besides gut feelings. In terms of the episode, I think the barrier is going to play a big part in that. I don't think the big pirate ship's going to get to come down. I think that's like a forcing function of like the resolution under the barrier on the planet is going to have to be solved by the people who are inside. And I think that's kind of a cool storytelling thing where it's like, you're not going to get a huge in atmosphere space battle or ground battle. I think it's maybe New Republic shows up and they're all farting around up there, but like the issue with Jot is going to be solved by the people on the planet or the robots on the planet. That's kind of that's all I got. Like, I have no clue. Like, I know I'm the pie in the sky. I mean, the supervisor, the other part is like the supervisor, whether he is a pile of bones, they're a pile of bones on a chair that the robots just can't comprehend and they just keep going about it, or it is a character that is actively doing something is memorable. I think that is a crucial piece to the end of this show.
What about you? What about you, Tom?
Yeah, I agree with what Sean said. I also kind of, my mind goes places and I look at things from a practical point of view, and I don't know if you happen to listen to the Sith list, but I have a theory about what this money means. And my question is around, they're going to have to say, what does this money mean to the Old Republic? Is it actually something that they could take this money to the New Republic and they'll be rich because it still counts as money, it's still used as money? Or is it a collector's item, or is it made up of a metal that they need somewhere? But I think the money is going to be involved somehow. Because the pirates think they will be rich for some reason or another, but at the same time, you can't just flood the economy with millions of credits from hundreds of years ago. So my mind gets caught up in questioning things like that, and how will these characters translate to whatever Filoni's big finale is?
And do you think the great work is associated with the cash, or do you think it's something else?
I think it's all about the cash. I think at some point the Old Republic had these. It's like Lost Dharma Initiative. They had these special planets sequestered, quarantined, so they could do things like mint money. And they might have all been mints, or maybe the other ones were, one where they come up with medicines, and another, they solve society's problems.
Right.
I think they were all trying to do something for the old Republic.
Okay. Sean, you were going to say something?
Just the idyllic societies, like they're isolated from things, and like people go there and it's kind of self-isolate, and like that's part of like the great work kind of idea, like the ideals of it. It's like we're almost sacrificing to go do this. I do think the money's going to come into play, and like I don't know if I don't think it's going to necessarily come into play like in the it will in the show, but like in the bigger picture, like I think it's going to become now people know about this, we need to offload, and then I think that's going to be like the sport of like a million stories after that. Like, how do we safely get this money out of here for the New Republic without getting hijacked by pirates and things all the time? It's like, and that to me is exciting, because it's like, oh, it can't stay here, like it's got to go somewhere else because they know about it. So how all the stories that get spin off of like getting it from A to B or somewhere else.
And who do we think, Tom? Who do we think who do we think that this is obviously something that's ancient, something that has been going on for a while. There's this history here, but in today's in today I mean in the context of the program, in today's date, in today's environment, who would it be serving? Do you understand what I mean?
I would like to think the Republic, but it would also make sense that Thrawn or the people behind him get their hands on it too.
Good. Yeah. I'm just thinking, who's keeping this going? Who's keeping this?
Right.
Who's keeping this?
My thought was that I don't think that anyone is keeping it going. It's been going on its own, where they've been filling up the vaults, and they haven't had an emissary in hundreds of years.
Right, okay.
That's what I'm thinking.
You think somebody at some point would maybe switch off the conveyor belt and say, hey, is anyone going to pick up this parcel?
Yeah.
So this is going to make, this reference is going to make sense to literally probably nobody but me. I play a lot of factory automation games. This to me is that factory I built on the edge of the island and then went to go do something else and forgot about. And then I go over there and everything stopped because all of the warehouses are full, and I completely forgot about it for 60 hours of the game. That's what it's a huge universe. And like, once you lose a little bit of connection, it's like, yeah, they're a machine, and they're just in there operating in that weird volume, Moria, whatever thing is, that smelter. And I remember I did listen to Sith List, and I remember talking about like the inflation and stuff, and I kept getting in the same headspace too. And I was like, I mean, would this cause inflation? Because I don't like the scale of the Republic. Is this a lot of money for the whole picture? Or is it just like, is it like a bank, like a single bank in a country? Like,
right.
And then I'm like, what am I what am I doing? Like, why? What?
Mhm.
It's a lot for a single person. But if you all of a sudden introduced 11,038 whatever vaults back into the economy that they hadn't accounted for, like, does the economy even work the same way in the galaxy? I don't know. I'm just a podcaster.
The 40 million, was that it? 40 million they stole off of Aldani 10 years before this, 10, 15 years before this. That didn't put a dent in the Empire's economy, but it was enough to be noticeable and cause an issue.
It made him mad,
right.
For sure.
Right.
So that's our speculation for next week. Assuming
Galactic interest rates go up by 2%.
Right.
Yeah. Assuming that if it was to continue, so not in its, I think we're all agreed it's a one and done exercise when it comes down to a one and done story for the children. But there's so much there, and Sean, you've hinted on what you think. It coincides nicely with the end of the High Republic. Tom, if this was to go anywhere beyond this single season, where would you want it to go? Or where can you speculate it going?
I would want a story about how the kids try to bring AT-AT out to the galaxy.
Ooh.
And we had some discussion about whether the rat is actually Smee on the Sith list. I want the rat involved.
Can I interrupt?
Yes.
On Star Wars Spelt Out, Lane K. So our friend with name, she's been speculating that the rat is the captain all along.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, I just thought I interrupted you. My apologies.
Oh, no.
Shout out to Catherine.
Yeah, I'd be fine with that. And then maybe some of the credits fell and knocked some sense into Jod, and he remembers that he was a great Jedi at one point who was hit on the head 30 years ago, and he thought he was a pirate.
The rat bites his ankle, and then he trips and falls into the pile of dataries, and they just collapse on him. Because they're like water. You touch them, and they just smog all the way down. It's like, what is... Yeah. That rat's coming into play.
I also would love to see a scene where Jod just goes swimming in the credits. Just because...
Just dives in.
Right.
No, the reason why I like that idea. I like that idea because Wim is dreaming of a life beyond Aladdin. I mean, he's we saw that. Was it episode 3? He started looking really disappointed. He was complaining that we've only just started. We've only just really started this thing, and we're going home already. So I'd like to think there are further adventures out there for them, but to your point, not in the same guise as what we've already got. What are you, Sean? Do you want to drill down a little bit more on your theory?
I mean, I think if they did a season 2 and they kind of continued the story beyond this, I think it'll be kind of that idea of like the exiting AT-AT, and like you could go with the like what's it mean for the families? What's it mean for like everybody involved? If the supervisor reveal is kind of this big, something's got to come of that, whether they're not there, they're somebody who's important, or like that's going to have ramifications. Like, do all the robots shut down? Do the robots figure it out and be like, wait, oh, we got to leave now. And then they all wally it up and try. Like, I think that's like the Exodus. And so then the kids and all the other students get to like figure out like what it's like to leave, and it's dangerous, and where do we go? And then you can be the experiences on the new world, or that travel, like that kind of a Oregon Trail kind of story where it's like we're loading up the wagons, hopefully not Last Jedi style, and then
Wendell gets dysentery.
Yeah. There was some. There's something else. Like, yeah, the rat. I think the rat's going to come into play. Like, they wouldn't have shown it. It wouldn't. It's those that stuff I keep harping on. Of like, there's things. I was like really in it with Hawes the other day. I'm like, there's stuff that they keep doing from a cinematography standpoint. And I'm like the literal side of me is like, that costs money to do. They wouldn't add that if it didn't mean something. Like that mouse has been like when he scurried out and you thought John was going to step on it. It's like, they wouldn't do that if it wasn't gonna.
Why did they hide the? Yeah, exactly. Why did they hide the face of the pirate captain? There's got to be a reason for that. There's got to be a reason for that.
Or maybe and it's just going to be a hilarious ending, and they never tell us who it is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
So from my point, I've got to be careful here. I've got to be careful about going too far into it, because when I think about the future for this franchise, it really is going to kind of railroad what I'm going to talk about in our guest topic discussion. So I'll be very, very quick. I would like to see further adventures, plural, from this, not necessarily based on At-It, but certainly based on pirates being a category in Star Wars. So we've got our gunslingers, we've got our Jedi, we've got our smugglers, we've got our Imperials, but we don't have pirates in the category, and so I would love to think that At-It maybe is maybe it's all bogus. Maybe the whole thing is actually a big con. There is no vault there, but what it does do is it spins off a whole new bunch of tales of people that we've met either during this season, or that could be quite easily associated with this season, like Hondo and Nakla. Anyway, that's that. So all in all, I think we're all agreed it's been a relatively successful season, and I'm looking forward. It sounds like we're all looking forward to next week's finale, at least anyway.
I do have one more question. I have one question I forgot to ask. SM33. 1, part A, does he make it? Or is he still alive? And 2, if he's alive, what is his fade to black? Where is he? Is he staying? Is he not? Is he going somewhere else? Who's he off with? Who's he with? Where's he at? What's he doing? If he's still alive. Any predictions on that? Since he's headless currently.
I think he'll be rebuilt. I think he'll be rebuilt, and him and Wim will go on an adventure together.
I like that. I'm thinking about that, considering it seriously. Before that, I was thinking he will be rebuilt. The rat will still be there, and he will be the new in charge of droids on At-It.
Ooh!
I like that. Nice.
I really like that.
His idea now too.
I like the idea of him getting rebuilt in the garage with like KB and Fern. Like instead of the bike, they're working on him. Like he's not alive in the episode, but like it's the end. And then he like leads in like he's good now. He can help. Or yeah, I like that. He's like
so the post credit screens is one eye lighting up. Nice, love it. I love that idea.
They put a little door
Absolutely
on
love
the
it.
other one, like a little flap, so he doesn't get knocked out all the time.
What, for the rat?
Yeah, so the rat's not, so it's not just a hole. He's got like a little door that he can open and close. Yeah.
Yeah, that's using your imagination, sure. Right, folks, right. We are going to move on to our special guest topic, and there's a reason. What we're going to do is if you remember a couple of weeks back, we worked with the mighty Chris Hall to review the year, but the year that's just gone. So we reviewed our favorite things across the whole of pop culture that really, really, really sang to us in 2024. So with Tom, we thought we'd do something different. In fact, we thought we'd do something polar opposite to that. And we thought we'd ask him about, or the three of us would discuss, what we're looking forward to for 2025 and beyond. But because it's our anniversary, it's our party, and the reason why Sean and I got together in the first place was our mutual love for Star Wars, and
Guinness.
one of the earliest on Guinness. Sorry, my apologies. Star Wars and Guinness, and one of the very, very first podcasters that we certainly resonated with was Mr. Tom Chansky. We thought we'd kind of put a Star Wars spin on this. So while I'm going to give everyone the option to provide an honorable mention of anything else in pop culture, the questions I've got at the moment that we're going to broadly discuss together as a team as opposed to individually is really, really focused on Star Wars at this moment in time. So I hope that made sense.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone cool with that?
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
So first of all, and there's a few questions here, and like we did with Chris, if we run out of time, we can scale it back, or if we've got time, we can expand. We're a relatively flexible podcast. Okay, first question number one. What do we know is officially on the slate for 2025 at the moment? And I'm going to need your help with this, guys, because I'm not 100% sure. Outside of 2 or 3 things, I'm really not sure. So guess first, because you're more knowledgeable as well.
We're not ranking these. These are just what we know.
Yeah.
Okay. Live action Andor season 2, which I believe I've seen a few places say is officially 100 days away from right now when we are recording. So Andor season 2 is 100 days away.
Oh, is that the official Andor countdown
Yes.
meter on
days,
on Blue
4
Sky?
hours and 53 minutes.
Yeah. I believe Vision season 3 we're getting at some point this year. And then, as you mentioned, the High Republic is going to be ending this year. Charles Sewell's book comes out in April or May, I believe. I'm really looking forward to that because I've enjoyed the High Republic a lot. And then there's a few things with comic books. They're going to be launching some new series, doing some new types of things in Star Wars. But I think that might be it. I don't know that we're getting any video games.
No.
Or anything
Star
like-
Wars Celebration,
Celebration.
which is intriguing that book comes out around April or May, right around the same time as Celebration.
Yeah.
Well,
Very
do you know that was going to be a separate question, but I mean, I'm equally, and I've probably, excuse me, I probably shot us in the foot by making these questions focused specifically on Star Wars. But like you, that's all I can get as well. Like, I mean, we do have Celebration in April.
Right.
What is going to be featured?
Are you asking
Anyone.
that question? Are you moving on to that question, or are we...
I am actually going to move on to that question. What do we actually think is going to be featured? Sean,
Go first.
any
Okay, I'll go first. I'll go first. Andor, clearly. I'll skip the easy stuff first. Andor. It comes out like they're probably going to bump it forward a couple days. Andor is going to be a big one. That's the obvious one. I think we're going to get I'm calling it like the additional Mandoverse info and like connections. So like we're going to get more details on things that are connected to that Mandoverse story. Like there's been like leaks, like the Jeremy Allen White stuff, but I feel like something has changed with like the Star Wars leaking in the last couple years. It seems like it feels more buttoned up than it's been for the last 10 years recently. It's a vibe I'm feeling. So I feel like they're going to come with some pretty heavy hitter, like Mandoverse stuff. I feel like we're going to get an announcement of a new animated series focused on pirates inspired by Skeleton Crew, which I think would be sick. Maybe it'll be on Brutus's twin brother, Julius, or something like that. And I think we're going to get a teaser for a film that previously has had very little information. I think that is my prediction for Celebration.
Do you think there's anything that currently isn't on the slate? That will say, I mean, you're basically saying that cartoon series of Pirates, because we don't currently have animation outside of Visions. We don't have anything else on animation.
I think they're going to finally do the shakeup and announcements that they've been holding off on for a while. Like some of the movies where they're like, oh, so and so's not on it anymore, this, that, and the other. I think they're going to come with a cleaned up slate and kind of reset expectations. They're not going to do this like, oh, we got Taika Waititi and whatever, and Ryan Johnson, whatever. I think they're going to come with a cleaner slate. So I think a lot of it will be new, and I think they're going to do a lot of clarifications and then teasers and animation. Like it's not going to be huge, like, oh, episode 10 reveals, anything like that. But it's going to be like they cleaned house a little bit and clarified. I think that's going to be the big kind of push. And then new book pushes based on Skeleton Crew and Pirates, et cetera.
What about you, Son?
I'm with Sean. I think, and by think, it's 99% hope. They're going to have a lot of stuff there announcing that we don't know about. I think a number of things, mostly the strike of what was it 2 years ago. I think that pushed back some of their development, and then just not being able to get timing lined up with the creators they've had lined up. I think that's also pushed back.
Do you think that?
Some of
Do you think they're conscious that they're looking quite slim at the moment? Do you think that they? I mean, I don't understand the industry, so I'm kind of. Yeah. I don't understand how it works, but having something as large as Celebration, which is really which really is their soapbox, where they for the year, and an extremely expensive. Believe me, it's expensive undertaking for people to go to and to attend. Mm-hmm. Do you think that they're conscious that there may be repercussions, or do you think there may be repercussions if they don't come to the table with much in April?
I'd like to think they're conscious of that. I'd like to think they know that.
Right.
I hope they are. So yeah, I think they do. I think it's a mix of wanting new. I hate using the word product, but wanting new product that makes financial sense, because I think that's big to Disney, but also makes story sense and is also quality.
Yeah,
and I think it's a delicate balance. And like I mentioned, they've had a lot of creators that they've had lined up for things, but for various reasons. Some where the creators just didn't vibe with them, but also others like, the Ryan Johnson trilogy that was supposed to happen, where timing wise it didn't work out. I think they have to make some commitments to these creators, say, look, we are signing you up. We want you to do this. I mean, it's easy for us to say what we see, but I think that's what it seems like is happening.
Do we have time to? Oh, so
it feels intentional to me. Like it feels like the slim announcements before Celebration are intentional. I feel like they're trying to tighten it up. And some of the stuff that we talked about in less episodes before, where it's like you starve a fire of oxygen and you can snuff it out. And I think a lot of that is the internet discourse, the negative reactions. I think they're also I think there's political ramifications that they're. Like with the year that we're going into, I think a lot of it has been like, if we don't announce anything, people can't get pissed about it on the internet. Like there's no meat on the bone. And so you tighten it up, you get things closer to a true announcement and starve it a little bit. And kind of
but at the same time, but equally at the same time, you need to generate interest and enthusiasm for your main tentpole event of the year.
And I think they've had an issue with marketing these past outside of the main trilogy movies, and Rogue One, but I think was Solo had horrible marketing. Some of these TV shows, the marketing, and I think that they need to figure out what they're doing with how much they let us as fans know, so that we can get excited about it and generate that organic marketing, rather than hope to, spend all this money on a last minute ad blitz at the last second.
I'm just wondering if there's an opportunity. I'm just wondering if there's an opportunity for them to resurrect some of the. I mean, typically, all the news is typically bad news. I mean, bad news is news, right? I mean, that is the news. Seems to be these days, but there are some. There are some. My understanding, there are some projects that are still on. I mean, I don't know. There seemed to be some confusion around the Donald Glover writers, in that a writer said that previously was involved with a project which was subsequently moved over to Donald, and his brother said that he was no longer involved, which people, I believe, incorrectly speculated. So therefore, it's not going to happen. But that actually wasn't what was said. Do you think we've got time to
Those people
resurrect?
should go listen to Going Rogue, because I think that's very informational.
No, really? Okay. Is it in
not
that?
in that specific, not in that specific situation, but like the
okay.
idea of writer swaps and like kind of how the industry works. I think that's
Okay. Yeah.
kind of podcast for that kind of stuff.
Okay. But for the context of this question, do you think that they've got time to create that moment, or to create some really magical moments in celebration by, I don't know what it is, burying the hatchet, or making amends, or signing the deals, or I don't know, approving a first draft copy of something like the Donald Glover script that he's writing on with he's working on with his brother? Guys,
It's a delicate balance, because with creative stuff, you don't want
I want to go to shit.
Yeah, you want to give people time to work on things, but at the same time, you have to say, okay, look, we want this coming out we want it done by then. So these projects are going to need a while.
No,
I don't know that there's a great answer. I
don't think we'll get it.
I guess what I'm trying to say is, do we think that there are projects out there that are further developed than we think they are, and
Absolutely.
perhaps have been held back because of the reaction that we've been giving Lucasfilm up until now?
I think so.
Okay.
I think so as well. I don't think we're going to get anything on Lando. I think that is still in the, you're not officially working for us. You're still writing it, and then you're going to come in. Like, I think development is still literally in their drafts and small room meetings. I do think that there is something, one or two things, not books and comics, but like anime, cartoons, TV, movies. I do think there is stuff that is further along. And this is 99% hope, but celebration's built on hope. So I think that some of the other stuff they've been talking about, like, this is my conspiracy tinfoil hat, I think it's all been misdirection, because they actually have something else that they're trying to keep people off the scent of. Like, oh, here's Jeremy Allen White is blah, 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 Mandoverse stuff, but I think they're going to come out with something that nobody saw coming.
I don't know. I have an idea. I don't know if I should save it for my, if I ran Star Wars, what do I wish for the future section? But I have an idea of something that it could be. It's probably more wishful thinking than anything, but I do want to come back.
You should see my list.
Good, because 2025 at the moment is looking very, very bad.
Yeah.
Merchandise. What is going to be, bearing in mind what we do know is on the slate, which isn't a lot. What do we think is going to be the hot Star Wars collectible in 2025?
I want to be snarky and say something from the Book of Boba Fett from 3 years ago. I think, and I had an idea for this, but like a life-size B2 EMO for adults that can carry around drinks and things like that.
Nice.
Nice.
I like it. and it can crouch down and be like a footstool, and like
Right.
kind of blend in, but then it can and then like drive around. It's like a Roomba, like a Roomba sponsorship.
Right.
Yeah.
It's for adults.
Okay then. Just oh, I think we're on the wrong podcast. Just for adults. Just for adults.
I think I saw those at CES. I think they just announced them.
What about do you see some of the crazy shit that's going on there? Wow. Sorry.
If I see that Roomba with a claw one more time, I'm gonna delete the internet.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, what was your answer? What's going to be the hot collectible in 2025?
Well, my boring answer is probably that $1,000 reported Lego Death Star that I keep seeing rumors about in October. But what I want, this is what I want, and this is what I find interesting. Skeleton Crew Hot Toys like SM33 and Brutus. I don't want Brutus, but I want SM33. I think that'd be cool. That'd be awesome. And I think Micro Galaxy Squadron is going to get their marketing department in order, and they're going to release some better ships that are like deluxe versions, like the Onyx Cinder separate. Not you know my whole spiel there. I'm not going to go into that, but them, more of that, and make it available so I can buy it.
Which nicely moves us on to beyond what we know in 2025. Actually, no, sorry. Let me interject there. For all of those. For everything that we've talked about, is there anything outside of Star Wars that you guys are looking forward to in 2025 before we move on to the next part?
Marvel.
Todd? Marvel.
Really, even I'm not a Fantastic Four guy, but I am looking forward to the Fantastic Four.
Yeah.
Amen.
Comics wise, they've always kind of bored me, but the mix of, but I'm a huge Silver Surfer fan, and the mix of actors and knowing that they're going to be part of the larger overall Marvel story, I'm looking forward to that. I'm also a fan of the Grand Theft Auto series. Nice. And I have been back to the days of when I was in college in 1998. My friend, he was a seminarian studying to become a priest, came to my room. He's like, someone put a new game on the school network you got to try out. And it was GTA 1. And I think we stayed up till 2 or 3 that night, running over people and stealing cars. So I've been a fan of the series.
Did he become a priest?
He did become a priest. Yes.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. He's a pretty good one from what I know of him now. But I'm really looking. I don't know if we're gonna get it this year, but GTA 6, really looking forward to that also.
Right.
The Marvel stuff is very exciting, and to tie that into Star Wars, I like to believe that the Star Wars content is trailing behind a little bit and similar to what Marvel's done, where like they had all the issues, and I feel like they had a come to the table moment and be like, we got to figure this out. Okay, we can't use him, so let's figure out what we're gonna do instead and like make it work. I feel like they're kind of leading the charge, and then maybe Star Wars is like, hey, what if we came to the table and figured out stuff too? So I'm hopeful, because this slate of Marvel stuff coming up is exciting. And I'm not a big Marvel person, but like the movies, I love Bucky. Anything with Bucky in it, it's like, I'll be there. And it's awesome. Very excited.
Sean, Tom, you may not, but I'm particularly, I am also not a Marvel aficionado. Or a DCU expert. I've always gone with characters. I've always, as a kid, enjoyed Batman, Spider-Man, Wolverine, and a couple of others across the whole piece. But superheroes as a genre, it's never really been my thing. But I'm particularly looking forward to Fantastic Four, because I love that alternate past take on the whole thing, the kind of Baker-like superhero environment, if you know what I mean. The whole aesthetic is of what could have been. It's the reason why I like shows like For All Mankind, for example. The idea of what could have been had the human race or technology taken a different avenue. I love that. I love that take. So that for you, Sean,
La-
what about
La-
go, go,
the
Chris,
Last
go,
of
go.
Us, The Last of Us season 2 as well. I forgot about that.
Oh, yeah.
Coming soon. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
silent,
And
but I have to.
and from what I've read so far, early reviews or early testing is very good. Is very, very good. So that's good. Yeah, let's move us on to the main our last topic, which I think will get quite meaty. The question is, Star Wars 2026 and beyond. If you had full control of the sandpit, where would you take Star Wars? So, bearing in mind, we've already kind of agreed that unfortunately 2025 looks like it's going to be a lean year. And perhaps our friends over at Lucasfilm might need a little bit of reworking, or they probably are reworking the slate and working out what they're doing. But if you were in control, how would you work it all out? And I'm going to obviously answer our guest first. Tom, where would you take Star Wars in your sandpit?
I have a strategy I call, excuse the term, balls out Star Wars.
Let's go.
I am not saying, a movie every month. No movie every month or anything like that. But I would definitely like a very aggressive slate of at least one movie a year and 3 live action streaming shows a year, at least 1 or 2 animated full series with animated specials throughout the year, books and comic books. I think live action, yes, you have to do something to wrap up the whole Mando Filoni verse that doesn't too much disturb what was set up in the sequel trilogy. Because, the Battle of Jakku ended everything, but then we have Thrawn going on. So I don't think you could do that. But I think you definitely have something for the future with the Rey movies. Go ahead with that. With the Charmaine Obed Chinoy movie, I think, what's his name? Sean Levy has something in mind with Rey also. You do those. You do the, I'm drawing a blank of the guy's name right now. The director who directed Indiana Jones and Logan. The Moses Dawn of the Jedi movie that he has planned. You go forward with that. You go forward with the Lando story. Again, like I mentioned earlier, you have series that are stories, not continuing series. I think you could do a good job of mixing those and continuing stories together, set in different time periods. I think you continue the Acolyte, and while I think the issue was that it costs too much, and while we should have series that are done well, series that look good, I think you really need to consider using the volume a lot more. To keep costs down, because that obviously mattered to Disney a lot. And I was listening to Jam Transmissions with our friend Rick Villanueva, and he said something that, because I'm a big fan of this in Marvel, where you don't tell every story like the bad guy is going to end the world. You have to have smaller stories that to the people involved feel like they're ending the world. And I think you would do that throughout Star Wars timeline. So open up the timelines more. Tell stories in the Acolyte times. Tell stories in the Old Republic time. And the final part of my strategy, it's time. Because there's a certain creator who did a very successful Star Wars project in the past that was the only one of its time to come in on time and under budget. And he signed up. And he was off doing something. And this year, the thing that he was doing is over. So I drive a dump truck full of money up to Rian Johnson's house. And say, whatever you want to do it. I think originally, the stories back then said he was going to start off the story, maybe write it, maybe direct first, but hand it off to someone else. You do that. You do these other stories, with him having a creative seat at the table.
He's like the lead. Like, take whatever role you want, but you're kind of like the lead of whatever umbrella of projects you want underneath it, whatever make you make work.
And I think fans are sophisticated enough to know that things can happen in different time periods. I would also like, and if they do this in books or comics, this is fine too. I would like to know something about the treasure planets of the Old Republic. Like, how did they get hidden and destroyed or whatever? But that I just had like 15 minutes ago. We were talking about Skeleton Crew. Okay, Andy, I'm sorry to mean to.
No. I was going to ask, do you think he's still got the appetite to do it?
I think he does.
I hope so.
I think he had like an interview a year or two ago when he said, absolutely, it's just the timing doesn't work. And he did that show that was very good with Natasha Lyonne. It's a mystery type show where she can tell whether people are telling the truth or something like that. It was very good. And I think he's really been into the Knives Out, but I think he still wants to do Star Wars. And who would? Well, I can't see why people would. Yeah.
I mean, if you're giving Greenfield like whole hog whatever, and like you got kids to put through college, I'd be like, it's one thing to get handed episode 8, but if they're like, we will let you do whatever you want, but then reason obviously, but like you lead, I'd be like, cool, 100%. Let's jump in. That'd be awesome. Yes.
Yeah.
I like that one.
So
I just think I love that. I mean, that's quite, for me, that's the mic drop of for Star Wars. We need something disruptive. I enjoy excuse me. I enjoy Andor and now Skeleton because it's no risk. I enjoy those stories are good stories in their own right. They just so happen to be set in the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
I've quoted that for nearly 52 episodes now. But they're really, really good stories. They're no risk. And for me, the appeal is they don't touch the Skywalker timeline. They don't get it. They have their own story. To your point about them being small stories, they are small stories. They are inconsequential in many, many ways because we know that there are the trilogies in between these stories, or as marker stones between these stories, that are the galactic events that happen that do affect the galaxy. And then lastly, in many, many ways, I love these stories because they deal with the Any Man. It's the Any Man story, it's not a swashbuckling Jedi Knight that's being trained. It's the any or every man that may well be may well be a catering assistant that finds him or herself in a different predicament the following day. And what I loved about what Ryan was trying to do is he was trying to establish Rey as being nobody. And that the Force was not in any way, wasn't in any way, didn't flow you because of your bloodline, didn't flow through you because of anything else apart from you. And I love that, and I felt that, and I think there's an awful lot of us that agree that, unfortunately, the response JJ then kind of undermined an awful lot of that in order to placate some of the naysayers who ultimately weren't happy with the end result either. So, it's kind of like standing by your conviction, being as disruptive as you possibly can, and introducing something fresh and new, and challenge what it is to be, a wielder of the Force and the background of the Force and what it means, etc., etc. I would love for that to happen. I would absolutely love for that to happen. Anything that can help jettison, if you like, the old rhetoric from the original trilogy. And I'm an original trilogy fan. I grew up on the original trilogy, but it is hampering. It is it is cuffing the hands of creativity in my mind, in Star Wars. So I love your final idea, and I am a fan. Sean, what about yourself, mate? If you had the sandbox all to yourself,
I'm gonna get a job offer after this. Here we go. I'll start with the ones that some of them are literal, some of them are kind of more theoretical, but I'll start with the ones that are overlaps. I agree with everything you guys have said so far. Acolyte season 2, rein it in. I think there's a way to tell a tighter, more compelling story. Like you started wide, bring it in narrow, focus on fewer characters, tighten up that budget, or whatever it takes to get it made, or make the budget bigger. I don't know. I don't care. It's not my money. Pandering. Here's my pandering pick. For Lucy, I think a Star Wars kaiju movie or TV show would be good. You know, big animals, do whatever. You like let her have her Star Wars.
she'd love that. Star Wars shark.
It's like a massive shark. That'd be or like from the Bad Batch, like that one where it's on around the island.
That's the one.
Bring that in. One that I would love to see The Lost Stars turned into a featurette, a 2-part Disney Plus movie or animatic, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Don't use the Clone Wars style of animation. I'm done. Please stop doing that. Maybe some kind of new form of animation, like the Turtles movie or the Spider-Verse. Don't copy it. But something like in that vein of like different. Do something different. I like that. I want to see that Lost Stars story. I want to share that story with more people because I have a 14-year-old reading level and I love it. I would love to see, this is part of my like, kind of what you guys touched on a little bit, like the diversification of Star Wars content. Like when we get, everything just feels sacred when it comes. Like I'd love to see it kind of diversify a little bit. Maybe get like a good taste, adultish cartoon, like along the lines of like Lower Decks. Something with a Stormtrooper Corps or like a starship manufacturing facility where it's like, it's not actually, it is completely inconsequential. It's really just a comedy or something like that, Office style comedy, animation, whatever, Lower Decks in the Star Wars universe, just to kind of beef it up beyond all this. Everything's got to be so serious. Not quite Lego Freemaker, like maybe shift it back over in the other direction. So there's that. This one just popped into my head. It's always fascinated me, and I think there's a lot of opportunity for really good stories. And you can even tie it into the pirate stuff. Something with the droid Gatra or something similar. Like that concept of like a gang of just robots or like droids. They're just
There was so much that's just been dropped, isn't there?
well,
It's juicy stuff that could be used.
well, like they kind of touched on a little bit in Solo, and I think that's what kind of originally triggered. It's like droids' rights. I think there's no better way to frame it. But it's like what would happen? Like how like maybe there's a whole gang of them and like just their interactions with the universe and things like that. Not to go too far down like a head-banging kind of beat you on the head kind of narrative, but I think there's some interesting stories there of like what could come out of that. I'd love a Star Wars Muppets crossover. Completely nonsense. That's a pie in the sky dream. I want to see something with the High Republic done in TV, movies. Let's start with TV, like maybe adapt some of the better books, combine them, mix and match, tell some of the bigger stories. Animation might be best to keep the spotlight off of it a little bit. So we're not doing $400 million episodes. I don't know. Like, let's bring that into like a visual medium beyond comics and books. Cause it's very interesting. I know there's 1.5 billion people and they'd have to make a lot of animatics, like a lot of rigs, but we'll figure something out. I want to see the Dream Gear in like animation. Like that could be cool. For people who don't know, those are those giant like vegetation monsters. Like you'll figure it out. If you don't know what they are, look it up. Then the last two are kind of more theoretical. I would love to see Star Wars go back into branching out into different video game genres that maybe just simply exist in the Star Wars universe or have their backgrounds, like the old days of Tiny Death Star. I thought that was so much fun, inconsequential. It's whatever. I personally would like a factory builder. Maybe they let me set up a treasury and build on Ad-Aden. That'd be sick. Maybe do an RPG. Maybe do a story-based text adventure game. I don't know. I think that stuff would be kind of exciting and fun. And the final one is I want to see Star Wars, Lucasfilm, and everybody lumped in go back to the days where they are pushing the envelope with interactive experiences, technology pushing innovations, and really kind of get back on that leading edge of stuff like they used to be. I feel like they did that like Vader VR thing and a couple other stuff, but like I feel like it used to be more of a testing ground in terms of like they used to lead in a lot of ways, and I feel like we're playing it safe out of fear of like, oh, will it be a big hit? Like everything's so sacred. I don't know. Come up with something. Do something in the parks. Make a video game. Do something that is like beyond the volume where it's all behind the scenes. But I don't know. I want to be like inspired not by Star Wars, but like the people who are making Star Wars again. I think that would be cool.
Yeah, you think about the guys that went on from their career. I mean, I know John Knoll invented with his brother, was it?
Photoshop.
What? Photoshop, wasn't it? Yeah. I mean, you've got this industry-leading professionals working as their creators that either subsequently or prior to them working for Lucasfilm have been absolutely astonishing. I agree with you about the droid gotcha, and I had to look it up. It was they did an ancillary or complementary book, supplementary book to Solo. You remember, Tom? It was Last Shot.
Yeah,
the Last Shot book, which I actually really, really enjoyed, and droid gotcha very, very prominent in that book, and it was maybe feel a little bit differently about Solo, in particular the Nava computer, but
that was the one with Lando and Han by Daniel Jose Older.
Yeah, yes, the one where they had three different time period.
Right. There was another one with Kira. I don't remember. I think not Crimson. I think so. Yeah, but that involved the droid gotcha also.
Oh, did it?
So
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
See, there's so much they could do. Right, mine's quick, and mine is really binary. It really is about
Pirates, Wookiees, Brutus.
And good night, everyone. Thank you, Tom, for your time. Really appreciate it.
That was just my guess. Am I close?
Am
I close?
It really is about if anyone's been listening to this pod up until now and they've got to know me, it really is about the Anyman story, and it really is about while I will never ever be in media or in I will never make Star Wars, is because most people would probably be bored with my content. But everything that I've loved has that's come from Disney since acquiring Lucasfilm had basically centered around the Anyman story. And that's why I'm so gutted that Rangers of the New Republic and Rogue Squadron have been cancelled, because that seemed like really no-brainer productions that didn't have to in any way break any rules, break any canon, but really concentrate on some serious world building, expanding our knowledge of the galaxy, and expanding our understanding that the entire history of the galaxy is not defined by a family of 5 people or a bunch of 5 people. And so at the moment, and I'm doing it because I am at the moment extremely excited about Pirates. You're absolutely right. But there can't be a coincidence that we have Outlaws the game out. Tom, you and I have finished the game. We've had Outlaws the game. We've had Skeleton Crew. We've had extra content in Outlaws coming that's already come out as DLC, but we've also got Hondo and Akka. We've got, is it Mando content coming into Galaxy's Edge? Coming into the Smuggler's Run? I believe we've got Mando content coming in.
Yep.
And in doing so, we've also got the wrapping up of Mando as well. And is there a way that this is kind of a premonition that we're going to see pirates being involved in the Avengers moment with Mando? Maybe not. But the point being is that I really do want to see a lot more development in the underworld. The underworld, for me, is an untapped area with so much potential. We talked about the droid Gotra, which essentially is its own criminal gang. It's its own criminal gang in its own right. Yeah, we've seen and experienced the Pikes. We've seen and experienced the Hutts. I would love to see in 2026 and beyond a lot more focus on these untapped areas, and because they're the underworld, it's the underworld, then we can tell these stories in relative safety because it's the underworld. It's an untapped area. It's secret. It's what's the word I'm trying to think of? I can't think of the word. But the point being is it's elusive. And that's really where I kind of want to see it. And we've already got, again, some low hanging fruit in Hondo, especially when at a time, to your point, around creativity and experiences, Sean, especially when they need to be thinking about refreshing Galaxy's Edge at some point. Isn't it getting a bit, I mean, are they going to keep it in the time period that it's set at the moment?
They've
How do
let
you
go of that a lot? Yeah, they've kind of let go of the strictness of the canon there. They've introduced new characters in different time periods. They got Boba Fett.
Oh, right, okay.
But it's not, it's still, I think it's in that transition away from, it's before the rise of Skywalker and yada, yada, yada. And
right, okay.
So, but it's interesting. I agree with you, though.
But it would be so great if it was a lot more generic. It would be so great. I mean, there are stories in the comics, Tom, there are stories of, I haven't read them themselves, but I've certainly seen the front covers of Han Solo and Chewbacca walking around Galaxy's Edge.
Yeah.
There is so much great content there that they can relatively cheaply, I'd imagine, bring the whole thing together and create an experience again that is unique to Star Wars. Anyway, that's it. It's all about it's all about pirates, and it's all about bringing pirates in the underworld. And it's all about bringing them in as a category, a first-party category into my Star Wars from 2026. So in other words, you're right, basically, Sean. That's a long-winded way of going around the houses saying.
There's a distinct lack of Wookiees, though. Like, you didn't mention much about Wookiees, so I was off. I went too broad.
That was off, actually. That was actually off. That was, yeah, no. I've still got the love for the Wookiee. I've still got the love for the Wookiee, and there's nothing to say that. Actually, we haven't had a Wookiee. Oh yeah, we have. I keep forgetting Book of Boba Fett. Maybe on purpose, but I keep forgetting. Anyway, chaps, we're approaching the witching hour for me because I need to take some medication, unfortunately, in 10 minutes or so, which will completely zolt me out for the evening. Thank you very much for your time this evening, gentlemen. In particular, thank you, Tom, for joining us on our anniversary edition. You are one of the smartest guys I know. And certainly when it comes down to putting me right on what I thought was my Star Wars knowledge, you are simply the best. But thank you so much for listening to us. Thank you for being our friend. And where can folks find you?
You can find me every week on the Sith list, where a bunch of us, growing number every week sometimes. We have a lot of fun just talking about Star Wars and other pop culture stuff. I also do Patreon shows for Steel Wars. Blue Harvest, and I'm on Blue Sky at Tom Chansky, one word.
Excellent.
So
Excellent.
thank you so much for having me. This was I love listening to you guys every week, so it's definitely been a thrill to finally,
Oh no,
talk.
no, thank you. Thank you for thinking that we're worthy enough. To be honest with you,
Oh.
I was quite surprised. I said when you said yes, I'll join, and I was like, holy shit, we've got King Tom. Sean, we've got King Tom. Look what I've done. What are we going to talk about?
Don't say anything before we mess it up. Don't say anything. Just if we don't move, if we don't touch anything, we'll be all right.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe he's drunk. Maybe he won't remember in the morning. Guys, thank you for listening to us on our 52nd episode. We've been going for a year now. Sean, thank you for putting up with me. Thank you for listening to my ramblings most week. Thank you for putting up with my procrastination. And just thank you for being a really, really good friend to me personally. I love you to bits, my friend. Why don't you take us out?
Thank you to everybody who listens. Thank you to King Tom for joining us. Thank you, Andy, for doing this with me. It's what started out as doing something just to basically for therapeutic reasons, just to kind of get it out there and just forcing function to hang out and get out of our own heads. And look what it's turned into. It's that exact thing plus a little bit more, and now we've got people listening to us. That's crazy. It's just crazy. It's kind of out of body a little bit, and I'm really appreciative of everybody who listens and stuff like that. I speculate 52 more episodes in the coming year. That's my speculating there. But for everybody else, we do really appreciate you spending time with us. If you continue to like what you hear, please make sure to subscribe and tell all your friends. If you can figure out how to leave us a review on those apps, go for it. I really, it's so hard. I tried to do it for another person's podcast the other day, and it's like, I don't think they want me to leave one. But yeah, also don't forget to check out our website at justchillin.com for more awesome content and links to all of our socials. Yeah, until then, thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.